Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week's video is going to be me talking about all of the books that I've rated 5 stars so far this year. And let me tell you, my list is short and sweet. It has 3 books on it. I know I'm only holding up 2 books, but I don't have a physical copy of the other book that I'm going to be talking about, but we're just going to pretend. Without further ado, let's jump straight into my 3 5-star books so far this year. I'm hoping to read some more 5-star books this year, but we'll see how it goes. I feel like I've become more critical of what I deem a 5-star book this year, because I feel like I used to rate a lot more books 5 stars, but now I feel like I know when a book is 5 stars as soon as I finished reading it, and if I don't immediately feel like it's a 5-star book, then I don't rate it 5 stars. So, first of all, we're going to go to the first book I read this year. I'm so glad. It is The Beautiful Indifference by Sarah Hall. This is a collection of short stories. I think there's 7 short stories in here. I have to count them every single time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, there are 7 short stories in here. And all of them are, to some degree, dark, disturbing, and obsessive. The thing that kept coming to my mind when I was reading this was that it was obsessive, that everything was really obsessively written, and the characters themselves were quite obsessive within their stories, with the things that their stories are about. And I love it, because it kept me engaged. I wanted to read more about every single one of these characters. As soon as I had finished reading the short story, I wanted more of the story, which is always lovely. It's lovely when you finish reading a short story and you're like, but no, I didn't want it to end. I could read an entire novel, especially my 2 most favorite ones. The Beautiful Indifference, the titular short story, and The Agency was my absolute favorite one. I could read a novel of this, I could watch a short film, I could watch a feature-length film, I could watch a documentary about these, and I would love them so much. So, if you're looking for a good short story collection to sink your teeth into, may I suggest you pick up this one, because I think it's fantastic. I can't wait to read more of Sarah Hall's work. So that was my first 5-star read of the year, and it is so far my favorite book of the year. The second book that I rated 5 stars is the one that I don't have a physical copy of, so I will put a picture of it here. It is The Past in Hiding by Mark Roseman. It is a biography of a young woman during the Second World War. She was Jewish, and she escaped Nazi capture several times during the war, and Mark Roseman became aware of her story through other research that he was doing, and then did interviews with her, got letters from her that she had kept, spoke to other people that knew her during that time. I just loved this book. I did skip the beginning of the book because it was about her upbringing when she was a child, and I was not particularly interested in that, although I am sure it does contribute to the overall story. I was looking to read the parts from where she was a teenager onwards, and throughout the war and after the war. But it was really beautifully written, really incredibly well researched. Mark Roseman did a lot of research, and you can tell when you're reading this book because he has so much information to add. Every person he introduces, he gives you, well, he doesn't give you the whole backstory, but he gives you the backstory and tells them how they're connected and how he got connected with them and why he's including them in the book. And all of the information that he got from the woman herself, from Marianne, was really well documented, and it wasn't just, photocopied and stuck on the page. You could tell that he really went through everything with care and tried to incorporate it as best he could into the story. It doesn't follow entirely chronologically. There is some chronological order to the book, but in between he will go back and forth and tell you interesting tidbits that are relevant to the point in time that he is at the moment. I don't think I've ever read a biography this good. I've read a memoir that I could hold at the same standard, but never a biography. I haven't read that many biographies. But still, I think this is probably going to stay one of my favorite biographies for the rest of my life. And then moving on swiftly to the last book that I have given 5 stars this year so far. It is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I've spoken about this book so much on my channel in the past few months since I've read it, and I think you might be sick of hearing me talking about it by now, but I just want to say that when I finished reading this book, I actually had tears in my eyes. If that doesn't tell me that what I've just read is a 5-star book, then I don't know what does. This book is a multiple perspective story told from the perspectives of 2 wives. One of them being a researcher who goes on submarine missions in the deep sea, and the other one being the wife who stays at home. I don't really remember what she does. I think she's a writer or a journalist of some sort. And on one of the missions that one of the wives goes on, something goes wrong. They get stuck under the sea for much longer than they had intended to be there for their research, and lots of things happen while they're under the sea. And the wife who's above sea isn't really told that something has gone wrong, but the research facility just says, oh no, they're just staying longer. But eventually she realizes that something is wrong. And then when her wife comes back, she's not the same anymore. She's changed physically and mentally. And it sort of chronicles the time that the wife spent under the sea. It sort of flips back and forth between the past when she was on the mission and everything that happened while they were stuck, and then it jumps to the present tense as well from the other wife's perspective about how they are now and how their relationship is and what's happening. And honestly, I would like to see a movie of this book because it was so beautifully written that I could imagine everything as it was happening and as it was described in the book. And so I think it should be made into a movie, and I think that more people should read this, even though I know it has been a very popular book and a lot of people have read it. If you are sitting here watching this video and you have not yet read it, and you are looking for something to read this. I'm 99% sure you won't be disappointed. I don't really have many coherent thoughts about this book. I just remember absolutely loving it and being so enthralled by the writing and the imagery and being close to tears. Being close to having little teardrops running down my cheeks when I finished the book. A very short and sweet wrap-up of some of my favorite books so far this year. Let me know some of your favorite 5-star reads, or all of your 5-star reads so far this year in the comments. And I hope you go and pick these up with the addition of the other one that I don't have. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you being here. I will see you all again next week with another video. Bye.